The Supreme Court heard arguments today on an affirmative action case that could change the way colleges select students. Abigail Fisher, a white Texan, sued the University of Texas, saying she was discriminated against when she wasn't offered a spot at UT. She was in the courtroom today, as was the post-Supreme Court reporter Bob Barnes, who joins us now. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Sure, bro.
I think it's important to kind of lay the groundwork of where we stand, what the court has said about affirmative action in education and what could change. So where do things stand?
The court has said that college admissions are one of the few areas where government interests can look at race in making some decisions. They have found that there's a compelling interest in having a diverse student body that sort of helps all, and thus they can look at race when making admissions to colleges in a very limited way, so long as it's not the deciding factor and so long as it's part of a sort of overall examination of a person's qualifications.
And that last big case with that Michigan law case,
that's right,
where they said that you can't use, a certain formula, but it can be a consideration. But the composition of the court since that case has changed.
That's right. That's what's really different. That was a 5-4 decision. It was written by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, who's no longer on the court. She was replaced by Justice Samuel Alito, and he's very much opponent of racial classifications and government's use of race.
And O'Connor
came into the court today. Justices sometimes come back to watch, and she, while the argument was going on, came into the courtroom and took a seat on the front row.
So Kennedy likely to decide this. What do we know about his feelings on this?
Well, what we know about him is that he has said that theoretically he agrees that diversity is important and so that race can be looked at in a very limited manner. However, he's never actually seen a plan that he liked. And so every time affirmative action plan has come before the court, he has voted to disallow it.
What's at stake here? Could this change the way colleges admit their students?
It could. The court has a number of ways they could decide the case. It could simply decide based on UT's policy and whether or not they can continue to use this holistic approach, they call it, in which they accept about 25% of their students under that. So it could be very UT specific, or it could be very broad, saying that there's no longer a compelling government interest in looking at race.
And we will get a decision when?
No one ever knows with the Supreme Court. They decide them when they're done with them, and so it could be a matter of months.
Okay. Bob Barnes, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.